What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Not Entertained channel, your home for entertainment, media, and culture. I'm Gentz, and on today's episode, I'm going to be introducing a new segment to you guys on the channel. I'm going to call it the Knotty List. I can't tell you guys how many times people have asked me to recommend them a good movie or artist or game from some sort of genre. I really don't think I'm too obscure with my entertainment media that I consume, but I just happen to find myself recommending and mentioning things to people that they've never heard of. So here we are with the Knotty List. These will be feature-less videos where I'll give you some of my favorite songs, albums, movies, TV shows, video games, you name it. I'll do my best to keep all the media categories organized so that if you guys are looking for something specific, you can find them easily. For this first edition, I'll be giving you guys 5 of my favorite martial arts movies. Bear in mind that the order in which I mention these movies is not how I'm personally ranking them by any means. They're just 5 that immediately came to mind. First on my list, I gotta start with the 1980 classic Shogun Assassin, coming from the Lone Wolf and Cub series. This one was a goodie for me. It has a lot of quotable moments. It's a revenge tale. The Shoguns is like a ruler during feudal Japan, and his decapitator, the Shogun Assassin, we never really get his name. All he did was decapitate the Shogun's enemies, and eventually the Shogun became paranoid, and he thought that the assassin would rise up against him. So then he went to have his family murdered. Somehow his infant son survived, but his wife was murdered by the Shogun. So he came at a crossroads. He knew that the Shogun wasn't going to stop until he killed him, so he decided to flee with his son. But before he did that, and one of the most iconic moments from this film is that he took his newborn son and he sat him down in the middle of the floor, and he sat a ball in front of him and he sat a sword in front of him, and he made him choose. He's like, pick which one you want. Do you want the ball or do you want the sword? He's like, you pick the ball, then that means you're choosing a lifestyle that I can't give you. You want to grow up as a regular kid, I can't do that, so I'll kill you here and you'll rest with your mother. He's like, take the sword and you'll come with me on this journey, and we'll survive and we'll avenge your mother, and we'll defend ourselves, and this will be our new lifestyle. So ultimately he decides to take the sword, and then him and his son, the Lone Wolf and Cub, go on this adventure, and the Shogun throws assassins at him, and all people start to chase after him. He's got a bounty on his head, and they get on all kinds of adventures. It's really dope. I loved it a lot. If you're a fan of the old style swords masters and samurais, you'll probably enjoy this film. Second on my list, I have Bruce Lee's 1972 film Jingwu Men, which also goes by the name Chinese Connection and also goes by Fist of Fury. Spoiler alert, I like revenge movies, so some of these have a lot of revenge in them. This is no different from that. Bruce Lee plays the fictional character of Chen Zhen, who's looking to find the murderer of his master, the real life Ho Yan Jia. Trivia tidbit for those of you that don't know, but among many other things, Ho Yan Jia is remembered as a Chinese national hero fighting back against British colonization, and he also founded one of the most prestigious martial arts schools in China. His untimely death, much like Bruce Lee, is still marred in controversy, but most believe that he was in fact poisoned during a tournament. Another trivia tidbit for you guys is that you might have missed this, but Jet Li's Fearless was actually a depiction of Ho Yan Jia's life as well. Ironically, Jet Li also rebooted Bruce Lee's version of this film, The Chinese Connection, and it was called Fist of Legend, another movie that I'd recommend for you guys if you enjoy Bruce Lee's original version. In my opinion, I feel like this is Bruce Lee's best film. I know a lot of people like Enter the Dragon, but for me, Chinese Connection was the complete package. Had the movie been completed, I think Game of Death would have ultimately taken the mantle of Bruce Lee's best work, but I think for now it's got to be Chinese Connection. Third on my list, I have Jet Li's 1992 film Once Upon a Time in China 2. For those of you that don't know, Once Upon a Time in China is a collection of 6 films following the life of another Chinese folk hero and master, Wang Fei Hung. I'll preface by saying that this film may not be for everyone, just because there is some wire work in the film. There's not a ton of it. It's not as much as like Crouching Tiger, for example, but it's there, and I know for some, if it's even there a little bit, it might become distracting. I enjoy this film a lot. Much like Chinese Connection, it deals with foreign countries' occupation, but instead of Japan, it's Britain. But not only that, a cult uprises to take advantage of all the chaos and turmoil, political turmoil that's happening. And Donnie Yen is also in the film, I should mention, another one of my favorite martial artists, and he and Jet Li have like one of the best fight scenes in this film. Speaking of Donnie Yen, number 4 on my list, I have his 2005 hit film Chapeau Lang, or Killzone. This film is like brutal. There's really no way around it. It follows the story of a police force desperately trying to, and illegally trying to take down one of the biggest mob bosses in town, Wong Po, played by none other than Sammo Hung. Donnie Yen's character Ma joins the investigative force to take down Wong, but ultimately things kind of get personal and things go off the rails and the rules go out the window as a result of that. There are plenty of fights in this film, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Jing-Woo as well. He has some of the best fights in this film. If you don't like the 70s and 80s kind of aesthetic and style of martial arts films, then I would definitely recommend you to watch this one instead. Last on my list, but definitely not least, is the 2006 film Undisputed 2, featuring Scott Adkins and Michael Jai White. This film builds upon the blueprint of the original Undisputed film with Wesley Snipes and Ving Rhames, but it just amplifies all the action. The choreography in this film is really top notch. Like, it's even breathtaking at times. If you're a fan of combat sports, be it boxing or MMA, then this is definitely the film that I would recommend for you. Alright guys, those are just a handful of some of my favorite martial arts films. I may do another version of this later. If you enjoyed this feature, go ahead and hit that like button. Let me know what genre entertainment you would like me to list off next in the comment section below. And as always, don't forget to follow, subscribe on Twitter and Spotify. Peace.